DJI drone myself, but it's the lower end model, and I actually crashed it recently.
Oh no!
So that's fun. But no, these things are kind of crazy. You know, they shoot 1080p video. I mean, it's pretty small. And the amount of flight time on these things is actually kind of, forget how you do this one.
The back ones flip up
first.
Flip up, and then the front ones come out.
That's right. Mine actually is fixed, so I don't have to do any of this stuff.
So that's one of their folding ones.
Yeah, I think everything above my model, they all fold out. But yeah, these little things are crazy. They can fly 30, 40 miles an hour. They hover, you let go. You know, if you're in a situation where you don't know what's going to happen, you just let go of everything and it just hovers.
Oh, that's cool.
The nice thing about it that why I got it, because we bought lots of the drones up to now,
you have a ton of drones.
is that it hovers. So it doesn't go anywhere until you tell it to do something.
Yeah, and that's the biggest
All
thing.
the other ones, you know, they take
I need that.
Yeah, so this just stays there until you do something.
How quiet or noisy is it?
Oh, it's pretty noisy. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty noisy. This one's even noisier than mine. And mine, you can hear it for hundreds of feet, if not hundreds of yards. It's fairly noisy. But once it gets 100 feet up or something like that, you can't really hear it at that point. But like something in here, yeah, it's going to be pretty noisy.
One of the things I'm curious about is the applicability of something like this for hunters. If you're sitting in a deer stand, you're spending hours at a time wondering if a deer is going to walk by. And if you could get a drone further up to say, okay, there's some deer moving over here, maybe even go buzz them to get them to come this way.
I think that's cheating.
That is a little cheating at that point. Yeah.
Why don't you attach a gun to it at that point?
I maintain as long as you don't actually feed the deer, it is hunting and not agriculture. If you put out deer corn, you are now feeding deer and then harvesting them. That's agriculture. That's not
And
hunting.
that will send the video down to YouTube too.
Yeah.
So you can see.
And well, I saw the one video that you'd done over the weekend. Was it automatically following you?
Yeah, it automatically follows. It's actually very intuitive, and this one's better than mine. But if I can see your phone, Grandpa.
Pardon?
Can I see your phone?
Oh, where is?
Yeah, because he had posted a video and it was
So
following him
it'll
around the
track.
front yard.
It'll track a motorcycle or it'll track you.
So it locks. So it locks on
the
the
other
other
thing
You give it
can
an
do-
image and it'll track on that image?
It's
Yeah,
got
basically.
gesture controls. You can use your hand to
Yeah.
tell.
Okay, so I could, again, spot the deer, tell the drone to track it, and have this marker floating
You're
above the
stalking
deer
the
saying,
poor deer now.
Yeah. I mean, that's still cheating. But yes.
On YouTube today,
I have a fleet of them.
I saw a little dog pushing about 10 cows down a country road somewhere.
Oh man.
So you could put a siren in here or something and do all kinds of stuff.
Well, so actually, my senior design project, we built a gimbal for a drone. And, you know, we had all these restrictions, you know, it can only cost so much. Our budget, you know, we had to build everything. Our budget was $2,500. And we ended up building a gimbal that was pretty good. It was 3-axis, and it worked fairly well, but we were McCaster, that's where we bought everything from. And luckily we had another student who had access to a machine shop,
Oh, okay.
like a full-blown machine shop. We had a water jet and everything. It was
Oh,
pretty
great.
cool. But the applications for these are crazy. They're actually using them for agriculture now, for irrigation. So they can put these sensors on board, you know, instead, this is just a regular HD camera. They put these sensors on board that can go and fly over crops or fields, and they can measure soil temperature, soil moisture, and various other things like even nitrogen. I don't know how they do that, but they can fly over the field and figure out whether or not it needs to be watered or fertilized or whatever, and report back, and then the farmer knows, okay, I gotta go do this.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy, the applications for these types of things.
This has also got obstacle avoidance on, so
Yeah.
it won't come any closer than what, 4 foot?
It's like 5 feet,
5
give or
foot.
take.
To you, if you walk up to
Yeah.
it's gonna back up.
Yeah. Or
If
if
you
it's-
have it on tracking,
You,
or it won't run into a tree, it won't.
Well,
run
yeah,
into-
I couldn't tell if it was avoiding or controlled around your
flagpole.
The
flagpole.
flagpole, no, that was controlled by it. I didn't, from whenever I started, I never touched the controller again, other than watch it to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Right. Yeah, I was impressed because Dan's got a flagpole in his front yard and it
Yeah,
was,
Sunday, we were gonna track.
so are you programming it to do these things? I mean,
No, this is all out of the box.
it's all out of the box. So you say,
Yeah.
so how do you tell it? I want you to go and circle the flagpole 6 times or whatever.
So those types of things, I don't know the full functionality. Mine, like I said, mine is the lower model, so I don't know everything that this thing can do 100%. But I believe this has what's called like geo positioning, kind of where you can actually tell it go to this GPS location, go to here, and then come back. Or you can put like a fence.
So again, if you're working agriculture or if you have 20 acres,
Yeah.
you can say patrol this 20 acres, look for heat sources. You could do thermal.
Yeah, if you have the
Sensors.
proper sensor on it.
Okay.
Sure.
Look for heat sources and take a picture and note the location for each heat source.
Yeah.
And so now I can find out where the coyote that we're having problems with, where do we find it at different times of day, where's its lair, you can track it back from that piece of data and say, okay, we gotta, here's where we can get rid of this thing. Or I'm seeing feral hog damage, so where are the feral hogs coming from?
everywhere.
Where are they going to? They got patterns.
Yeah, that's
To be able to get enough data to say, okay, if we set up a blind in this location now, we can get rid of the feral hogs in an evening as opposed to spending 3 months trying to track them down.
Yeah.
That type of technology is probably not built out of the box. I know that there's open source projects out there, and most people that really get into drones, they build their own. Everything, it's a maker's market, basically. And I know that there's one project, I looked into it a while ago. I'd have to look up the name again, but those types of things can happen. You can tell it to go in this fenced area. It'll patrol it. If it notices something, it'll take a photo and send it to you, on your phone or email, text, whatever. A lot of those drones have, a cellular signal built into it, AT&T, Verizon, whatever. But no, they're pretty advanced. But out of the box, this thing, for what it cost,
Oh, it was really cool watching it follow you. Just
yeah.
I was like, somebody got really, really good at flying drones at Dan's house.
Yeah.
Then I realized, oh, it's a computer.
It is the computer. I got pretty good until I crashed it.
So
Yeah.
how well does it handle things like gusts of wind or?
Actually, very well, I would say.
It was probably 20 miles an hour of the wind when we did
Yeah,
it.
When we did
The
that, it
video
was
was
actually
smooth.
really gusty.
Yeah, it was very smooth.
You
But they
know,
don't do well in wind, really.
Right.
And
They're
Yeah.
fighting against it, probably.
Yeah. like mine is it's probably about half that size, and I flew it out in probably 20-mile-an-hour winds. But every now and then, if a real good gust came through, it would flip it over, and then it wouldn't be able to control itself, and it would just fall straight down.
The girls are building a drone. Last month we had one here, and Ron printed
The body of, right.
the frame for us.
Right.
And she and Desiree are putting it together.
Yeah.
And then last year we had one that called a Cove Drone Light, and they saw the company in San Diego. And that one doesn't go if you don't program it. It's just like the robots, it has to be programmed or it won't take off.
Right, I remember you had shown that to us where you...
Desiree's.
Yeah, Desiree had to, come up, go this way, go that way, and then come down. That's purely programmed.
And she showed it at Geek Fest again.
Right.
So when you're building these, are you building them in all 3D printed parts? Are you mixing
No.
a variety of different technologies?
They come as a kit. And you get 4 motors, you get the propellers and so on. And this kit, you 3D print all of the all the frame, the arms, the body, the top of the body.
Any of the plastic parts.
And then
basically.
the motors like that, you slip down in. Then you have
Okay.
to attach the wires, get the brain there, I can't remember what they call it, but the little,
And it's using a standardized brain, is it like an Arduino or something like that? It's,
no, they have a standard, I can't, Ron, do you remember what they call it?
Well, there's
on
actually
the
a
market?
couple that I know of. You can actually use a Pi, the Pi Zero,
okay.
the Arduino, you can use as well. But most of them, if you're building like a serious drone, you're not going to be using something like that. You're going to be using, what do they call them? Not the PDU. There's a chip that most people use.
A PLC?
Something like that. I don't know what the actual term for it is, but there's one that's built specifically for drones. There's actually a couple of them. But no, you can definitely use like a Raspberry Pi to fly one of these. Now, that's, you got extra weight and all that power, all that good stuff.
Yeah, do you
that
need
you
to
have
be
to count
carrying
for.
around an Ethernet
Yeah,
cord or-
yeah, you don't need to be carrying that around.
The problem is you've got to run 4 motors very precisely at high speed, so.
Yeah.
Unless you're very good at it, it probably is gonna,
Well, it's not even that. It's really the battery.
Yeah.
How big of a battery can you put on that thing?
Weight,
This
weight.
thing, I mean, if you look at it, like if you feel it, that's it fully loaded. And then if you take the battery out, that's like half the weight right
Yeah.
there. Like
That's crazy.
it's really all about
Does it make
battery
sense?
power.
It makes
What's
sense.
the runtime on that like under normal?
and those are called smart batteries.
Yeah.
They have circuits in there to control the charging.
They do a lot of stuff. They even feed battery percentage back to the controller. But
Oh, that's good.
the runtime on that thing is probably at least 20 minutes. Like the one that I have that's a little smaller, it's about 10. The racer drones or anything like that, it's probably like 5 minutes. But yeah, if you just pop that battery out, you can feel the difference. Most of the weight's in the battery.
No, it makes sense. Again, this one's all injection molded, modern manufacturing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, does this have, when you have to charge it, is there like a dock available? Like
Yeah,
a charging
actually.
dock?
Yeah, this one it comes with this. You can actually charge, well, it doesn't charge all 4 at once, but you can plug in 4 and it charges one at a time.
We'll show them that one.
Or
This one is a power source too. Like the battery you got. It's a charger and,
Oh, okay.
so if you're out somewhere and you ran out of batteries, you can.
Oh, it's got a battery.
Charge
on it.
yeah,
with-
this will
yeah,
charge like
without
4 or
electricity.
5,
Charging a charger.
and it will charge all 3 simultaneously.
But like this one won't self-dock when it runs low on power, right? I'm thinking
Well,
like a
yes.
Roomba,
Yes, it will.
like a vacuum
Call
cleaner.
that return to home.
Well, it won't self-dock, no.
Well, it'll land.
When it runs out of power, it goes into what's called like return to home mode, and it will automatically come back to you.
Okay.
So it'll also do that if you lose connection, like if the controller loses connection, it will just automatically know where it took off, and it will come
You're
straight
back
back.
to where it launched from.
Because I'm just thinking, from the standpoint like your idea, if you're monitoring a piece of land, well, even at 20 or 30 minutes, you're going to have to charge it relatively frequently, and you don't want to get up every half hour in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So if the drones came in,
And,
like
like,
the
landed.
vacuum robots automatically dock themselves,
We'll save that for next year's model.
charge.
Yeah, I'm sure Amazon's got something cooked up.
Yeah.
And you got a readout on the screen for probably 50 different things. The battery reads out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it
But,
was-
but that doesn't
The frequency.
actually recharge the device though, so.
No, but they do actually. Mine has it. I'd have to double check on this.
I don't want to do any work at all. I just want to see.
One thing is,
Yeah.
like I said, you don't want to wake up in the middle of the night. You want it to operate independently.
I was gonna say on mine, which is same brand but different model. There's actually connections on the bottom of the battery, which were intended to be like you drop it and let it charge.
Like a drop dock.
So this one doesn't have that, which is actually kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But they probably
Well,
started it and abandoned the idea.
I just added some units like that to a couple of Xbox controllers.
Yeah.
We have a charging station, and you have to replace the battery pack with one that has the contacts at the bottom, and now you can just set it on the charging
Yeah.
station.
Drop it, yeah.
you set it in the right location, it settles in and makes contact and charges. So that approach is being tested.
Well, it works on phones. It works
Well,
on
and
pretty much anything now.
it may not be being done for other reasons too, regulatory reasons, because you're supposed to be in control of these things at all times. If all of a sudden they're all self-controlled,
Yeah, I mean,
Because
it could be a
there's
lot of
the
things.
But again,
allegedly tying.
If your battery was charging like a phone, it could be on a platform, and you certainly could go and land on that platform.
Yeah, and I will say that I have flown mine, which is, you know, the lesser model of this one. I have flown it over 5,000 feet from my actual position, so 5,000, almost a mile out,
Wow.
actually a little bit more. And then I hit return to home, and I just dropped the controller and let it come back, and it landed within probably, you know, a 3 foot.
That's pretty cool.
And again, if you had a bullseye essentially painted on your docking point, and it was about a 6 or 7 inches across, so you have some tolerance there, and you can
Yeah.
use visual
Yeah.
targeting. It seems like you should be able to hit that pretty consistently.
Yeah, because it's going to remember where it's been, and it has GPS, so it knows where its home base
Well,
is.
it also works by, if I remember, a camera. I think there's 7 cameras in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they're actually sonar to an extent, but yeah, there's like 2 back here, there's 2 on the
How it
bottom,
reads down.
there's 2 up front.
And that's not the video.
And so,
Yeah,
Right.
that's all
Yeah,
collision avoidance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, that would give you a way to find home base, not just return to home, which gets you within the vagaries of airspeed and such,
Yeah.
close to home. But then be able to find, the docking point, maybe establish some kind of a universal drone dock symbol
Yeah.
that it can target on.
It would be nice if there was
Our
something
drone
like that.
overlords would be taking over and charging
Yeah.
themselves.
I do know that